The Oklahoma City Thunder pull off a shocking comeback, beating the Sacramento Kings and staying perfect. How SGA closed out this game.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. I am your host, media member and beat writer for Thunder on SI, Rylan Stiles. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at LOThunderPod. Email the show, LOThunderPod@gmail.com. On today's show, we're diving into the Thunder making this comeback over the Sacramento Kings to go 5-0 in what was, I think, Aaron Wiggins' most complete game as a player for Oklahoma City. SGA closed the door. Ajay Mitchell continues his hot streak. We're here in the Woody Guthrie room of the Paycom Center because you needed this podcast out as close to the buzzer as possible after what transpired in this one. So the Thunder were without Chet Holmgren on the second night of a back-to-back, but they did get Alex Caruso back out of concussion protocol. Still no J-Dub, no Isaiah Joe, no Kenrich, no Topic. Sacramento was missing Keegan Murray, of course, and Nate Clifford, their rookie. The Thunder elect to start Wiggins and Cason in place of Jaden and Chet. And you know, I thought that the Thunder, to start this game, tried to play with more pace. And I liked that they were trying to push the pace even after Sacramento makes. It did lead to some sloppy turnovers in the first quarter. Some of those turnovers, you have to clean up. But in general, this team playing with a higher pace is a good thing. And so starting that trend in this game was really good for the Thunder. And they didn't overreact to Russell Westbrook, who starts this game out knocking down threes. And he was 3 for 4 at halftime of this contest from beyond the arc. He started out 3 for 3 in this game from 3 as the Thunder were leaving him in the corners to shoot and being late to react to him on purpose. Because if Russell Westbrook is going to beat you from 3, you live with it. He ends up going 4 for 8, and it still wasn't enough to have the Kings get this win. So I like their strategy in that regard. But overall, the Thunder did a great job of making Sabonis' life miserable tonight. Nobody wanted to leave this arena faster tonight than Domantas Sabonis. He had rebounds ripped away. He had entry passes denied. He missed bunnies at the rim thanks to strong contests by Hartenstein, by J. Will. He was just dreadful tonight for Sacramento, and it led the Thunder to having an advantage in this game, even with Chet Holmgren in street clothes. But yes, the Thunder overall were too sloppy with the basketball, but yet they still gutted this one out. Yes, they still could not shoot from 3 at a high enough clip, but they still gutted this one out. I'll remind you that a year ago, Oklahoma City, who finished 6th in the NBA in three-point percentage, the month of October, they were 27th. Now, 27th, if you're keeping track at home, is better than the league worst at 30, which they are right now. But it just goes to show more evidence toward, the label of being streaky shooters, that they did have a similar slow start and then figured it out along the way. Now, it helps mask that in your mind whenever the wins in October for OKC looked much more dominant than the wins that they're getting right now. But ultimately, you have to give this Thunder team credit for getting this win. I mean, this is a team who's shorthanded. They've played 2 double overtime games already. Every game of this season has been in a new city. So they've had a lot of travel. This is the second night of a back-to-back. And it felt like toward the end of that third quarter, the Thunder were just running out of juice. They got it to a 1-point game. Sacramento grows it back to a 10-point game. Then they got it to a 3-point game at the end of the third quarter to go on another run. So the Thunder kept having to go on these back and forth runs as they continue to get back on the wagon. But up until the middle of the fourth quarter, the Kings have been doing a great job of keeping the Thunder at about a 5-point difference. Give or take a couple possessions, they had done a good job of keeping the Thunder away from taking this lead. But the Thunder did their job. They executed their recipe. They have Shai on the bench to start the fourth quarter, which is typical, although typically you have J-Dub out there, right, who is going to lead the charge offensively. And all that unit had to do was tread water until Shai returned and get the game back to your closer. And that's what happened. They turn a 3-point lead into, I believe, a 4-point lead whenever Shai comes back in the contest, and Shai takes it from there. Shai takes it from there and wins OKC this game. But I was excited to see how much fight this Thunder team showed, as we knew that they would. But there was just a lot that went against them through the course of this game that it would have been easy to pack it in, like some of the shot making from Sacramento. But eventually and inevitably, the Thunder avalanche happens, and you start to hear titanium blare through the Paycom Center speakers as the Thunder generate stops, turnovers, tap out rebounds, and timely buckets to get a 107-101 win, where Sacramento had the biggest lead of the night at 10. OKC could only grow a 6-point lead. There was 8 lead changes and 3 ties, but here's the key. Down Chet. The Thunder tie Sacramento on the glass 51-all. The Thunder actually turned it over 15 times. Like, that is alarming, and that has been a quiet trend throughout the course of this season. The Thunder, of course, having more turnovers than they typically do. I would say, remember, like, you're going to be seeing the differences that Jaden can make very soon whenever he gets back on the court, because everything that we're talking about going wrong for the Thunder, they're increased turnovers. Jaden is great, like historically good at not turning the ball over with his usage rate. The 3-point shot, like Jaden is going to cash in more of these threes than his understudies. The defense, Jaden is an all defensive player, literally. So it's like a lot of the things that you're complaining about right now through the course of the Thunder's 5-0 start, they all draw back to one All-NBA forward. Like, they all draw back to one guy that needs to come back to this club. And so in spite of that, the Thunder are still able to get wins, and they dominate the paint against Sacramento 52-34. I mean, Sabonis was just useless tonight in the paint for Sacramento on both ends. The Thunder win second chance points 15-8. They win fast break points 11-10, despite only the 1 turnover difference there between the two clubs. The Thunder end up shooting 45%, 31%, and 90%. And why I say it in that tone is that the Thunder shot 2 for 10 from 3 to start this game. It was a 20% first quarter from beyond the arc, and you thought, here we go again. But they clawed their way out of it, and they got to 31%, which is still not good, still not where you want to be, still not kind of the end result that you're hoping for. But it just illustrates how much better they shot the ball down the stretch with those timely threes. Sacramento, on the other hand, shot 42 from the floor, 34 from 3, and 90% at the charity stripe. But I did think that this was Aaron Wiggins' most complete game as a member of the Thunder. I thought SGA closed this one out, and Ajay Mitchell continues to impress, all coming up. But first, I want to say right now, my good friends over at Quo, go check out Quo today, because Quo is incredible, folks. One of the tools that help make a huge difference for business owners is Quo, formerly OpenPhone. It's the same great business phone system that you've heard me talk about before, but now with a new name. Here's what matters. Every missed call is money left on the table. Whichever customer conversation, they all count, because you need a phone system that's going to keep you connected 24/7. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communication. It works right through the app on your phone or computer. So there's no carrying around 2 phones. There's no landline. There's none of that. It's just right there on your phone for you. I love Quo, formerly OpenPhone, because your team shares one number, and they can collaborate on calls and texts with a shared inbox, and so no customer is left hanging. They also have a built-in AI agent, which is a game changer. It can answer after-hour calls. It can capture leads for you. It can keep business moving, and even when you're not on the clock. So whether you're a solo operator or have a larger team to handle these things, Quo makes it easier to stay responsive and professional. Let's be honest, folks. The last time you called the business, perhaps in a dire need of a new AC, a new heater, did you wait around if the first company didn't answer? Of course not. You went on and got what you needed. You missed out on that opportunity if you're a business owner, and you can stop that with Quo. This is why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly OpenPhone. Get them started today, and you get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you've got an existing number with another service, don't worry. Quo will port them over at no extra charge. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Also want to say right now, my good friends over at Rippling. Rippling is great because if you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to work easier, and now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply does not work together. There's no SaaS that's sad. Software has as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, finance. It's all in one place. That's helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clear, speed, and control. Clarity, speed, and control for you at Rippling. Everything from onboarding to payroll, IT access, it runs automatically and perfectly in sync. It's seriously simple to use. It gives companies one source of truth for their people. data in everything they touch. Whether you want to run your entire HR, IT, and finance operations as one, or you just want to fill the gaps in your software, go there right now because Rippling can do it all. Right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/LockedOnNBA. That's rippling.com, rippling.com/LockedOnNBA, rippling.com/LockedOnNBA for 6 months free when you head over there. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day here at the Paycom Center, recapping the Thunder's win over the Sacramento Kings. I thought that this was Aaron Wiggins' most complete game. He was in scoring mode early, and that was a big deal because the Thunder not only now down Jaden, their number 2 scoring option, but down Chet Holmgren in this game, who has had a brilliant offensive start to his season so far, and they needed some offensive production. And the first score of the night comes from Aaron Wiggins getting downhill, and on a pump fake, it's Russell Westbrook flying for the first points. He steals the entry pass of Sabonis, and let's stop right there. Like tonight, Aaron Wiggins, he was able to defend Sabonis. He was able to go out and defend these bigger wings. He was able to defend Russell Westbrook. Like he was all over the board tonight defensively, and he was completely and totally locked in on that end of the floor. And that's been the biggest key. Whenever people wonder why his minutes have dipped at times, why his minutes have dipped in the postseason, it's because they're challenging him with these assignments of defending bigger bodies that he's admittedly not comfortable doing. And that was our big talking point this summer. Like how comfortable can he get at playing the passing lanes? How comfortable can he get denying entry passes? How comfortable can he get scaling up defensively? Tonight was his best game at scaling up defensively. And so I know that Sabonis had a poor night. Part of that, most of that, is due to Oklahoma City's defense. So he was awesome tonight. Aaron Wiggins was. He blocks Russell Westbrook at the rim. He blocks Sabonis, leading to Dort getting to the free throw line on the other end to take the lead. He was all over the glass tonight. For his size, for his frame, 6 rebounds, a steal, and 3 blocks. I mean, you'll take that every day of the week. And so this is what the big talking point from the summer really tangibly looks like. He made defensive plays. He stopped possessions, either on the glass or literally with steals and blocks for other guys to scoop up. He was good enough. He doesn't have to be Lou Dort. He doesn't have to be Alex Caruso. And frankly, he'll never be those guys. He'll never be that talented. He'll never be that elite defensively. He just has to make plays and be in the right spots and compete. And he did that tonight in a big way. And you were able to utilize the offense that you desperately needed all throughout this contest. And if Aaron Wiggins can have this performance consistently, you will never have a conversation no longer about, why didn't he get a lot of minutes tonight? Like, why didn't he play tonight? Because the other end of the floor, the offensive stuff, which we're going to dive into and still give him praise for, the other end of the floor is still spectacular, and it always has been. He's always been a 3-level scorer. He's always been the Thunder's 3rd best shot creator. He's always been able to move the scoreboard in the right direction offensively. But the defense has hindered him. And this is a living example of whenever I kept holding up, hey, he's a better defender than the product that you're seeing. He's just being asked to be in a tough spot. He's finally figured out how to navigate that tough spot because he's always been able to play defense, but he's also been in positions where it's not favorable towards him. And tonight, they did a good job of balancing his matchups and being able to allow him to play strong defense. And why is that so important? It's just one game. It's 1 of 82. Why are you harping on this so much? It goes back to the injuries. I'm sorry, folks, but everything's tied in to the fact that this team is not whole. You're missing 2 of your best defenders tonight. 2 guys who can clean up some messes defensively. And Chet anchoring things at the rim, and J-Dub forcing switches on that defensive end to get mismatches away from the Thunder, in the disadvantage off the board for OKC. And yet Wiggins had his best defensive game. And so if he can just play at this level defensively, and then you add in one of the best defensive anchors, and you add in the most versatile defender in the league, his life gets even easier. It's easier to repeat this performance. It's easier to keep him on the floor, and it's easier to value that offense. So I think that that's a big deal for Aaron Wiggins tonight to play this complete game, because the offensive stuff, I mean, he's cashing in catch and shoot triples off of Ajay Mitchell steals. And that shot, I thought, continues to show that his decision-making is at a high level, because it wasn't a hesitation 3. He uses the pass fake and he gets his defender leaning, taking a false step, and then for sure has enough separation to launch that 3 and knock it down. but he allowed his game to complement himself. And this is why I think that he's taken a slight small step forward offensively, because offensively it's always been good enough. So he's kind of just like been on cruise control, so to say, of just his role was what it was. He'd go get buckets and that's it. But tonight, knowing that he was going to have a long runway of opportunity tonight due to injuries, he was able to get downhill early in the game, attack, and go score. And the Kings reacted to that. The Kings started to gravitate towards stepping up on his drives, leaping in the air, timing their jumps, trying to get blocks in the paint. And so Aaron Wiggins counters that with drives to the paint. The defender leaps in the air. Wiggins shovel passes it over to iHeart, easy bucket. It's like he's able to read the game at such a high level that this is someone you really want on the floor. This is someone that you really want to be there. And now, if he can play defense at this level, which again, he forces a miss at the rim from Russell Westbrook and then blocks Russell at the rim, 2 separate plays. Like, he was awesome tonight. And his 18 points, 6 boards, a steal, 3 blocks, 4 for 10 from 3, and a night in which, again, he struggled to shoot. He was 4 for 10, 40%, 46% from the floor, and a +6 tonight. Wiggins deserves a lot of credit. Like, these are the moments that make you appreciate how great this Thunder team is. Because once again, like, Shai should get a lot of attention tonight for closing out this game and hitting the dagger and getting to 31 points. But without Ajay Mitchell and without Aaron Wiggins allowing for the Thunder to stay within striking distance, and particularly in that fourth quarter, they head to the fourth quarter, Thunder are down 3. Shai's on the bench to the 7-minute mark. That could have easily gotten away from a team. And you go around the NBA and you tell them, hey, you've kind of gotten it close in this game. It's a 3-point game in the fourth quarter. Your best player is on the bench until the 7-minute mark, and your second and third best players aren't playing at all. A lot of them would fold in that scenario. A lot of them couldn't keep the game close enough to make it matter. But this Thunder team can, no matter who's in or out. And you haven't even seen them play at full strength yet as the reigning champions. So all the talk this summer about this team internally improving, I think, has bared out to be true. Now, has it reflected that in some of the stats? Has it reflected that in, for example, the point differential? Has it reflected that in the 3-point column? Of course not yet statistically. But you've got to think bigger picture. You've got to think bigger in terms of like, well, what would have happened in this game if it plays out the exact same way, but you interject Chet and Jaden to it. And now your mind can start to wonder, well, like, Wiggins' life gets easier defensively, as we illustrated. Ajay Mitchell, who's been fantastic this season, if he's able to consistently play every single one of his minutes next to a guy with the scoring gravity of Shai and Jaden, he gets better. Because listen to what Ajay Mitchell did tonight. Like, Ajay Mitchell, first of all, he has 18 points, an assist, 2 steals, 3 for 7 from 3, 46% from the floor, 1 for 1 from the free throw line. He's gone 5 for 5 in these games of scoring double-figure points. But let's work backwards with Ajay Mitchell's night. There's a possession late in this game, close game, clutch time, where he dominates, Ajay does, an entire possession. Because the Kings are making it so hard to get Shai the ball. They're just denying Shai the ball. Ajay can't get it to him. So Ajay Nash dribbles around the paint, then kicks it up top to J. Will. J. Will tries to get it to Shai at the elbow, but they're fronting him. They can't get the pass off clean. So now, late in the shot clock, J. Will goes back to Ajay Mitchell. This is all in one possession. Ajay then immediately, with time ticking down, attacks the paint. And so, like, for such a young player to understand, yeah, the time's ticking down, but I've got enough time to go to the paint. He goes to the paint. It's an unbalanced Kings defense. Nobody home in the painted area as everyone's focusing on basically a 5-out system with Shai at the elbow trying to deny him the ball. They kind of just let Ajay walk to the paint, and he perfectly releases the scoop layup to beat the buzzer and get 2 points. You take those points off the board, you don't win this game. And so it's like that level of poise whenever you're twice in one possession, your first option is not there. Your first option is not working. Then you have the ball thrown to you. It's like a grenade scenario where you're just trying to figure out something to do, and he improvs a drive for 2 points. Like, those things matter, and those things, like denying Shai the ball and giving so much attention to Shai and forgetting that Ajay can drive into an empty paint, those things will happen the entire time that Ajay's on the court once Jaden returns. And if they stop happening, if you start to give your attention to Ajay Mitchell, that's less focus on the 2 better scorers. So then you really become this team that we talked about this summer of a pick your poison, no-win scenario for this defense. But he attacked the paint in a huge way tonight to make it a 4-point game, hitting that clutch bucket. Then he goes on this 5-0 run by himself, gets the paint score and then the 3 to make it a 1-point game in total. Like, he was awesome. Last possession of the third quarter was one of his best plays that didn't count. The Thunder were walking it across the timeline. It was going to be the last possession. They're going to start their action at 8. At 8 seconds, the Kings send a double team to Shai, and Ajay Mitchell recognizes this, cuts over to the nail, flashes his way to the nail. Shai throws him the ball in the entry pass, and then AJ makes this touch pass to J. Will, wide open slot corner 3. J. Will misses it. And so it's like, that's a beautiful shot. That's a beautiful scenario. Everyone did their job. The shot just didn't go in. And like, sometimes the bigger picture here, the process here is what matters the most. Because if this team has a similar performance as last year, which we all hope that they do, like, they were a bad 3-point shooting team in October, those shots start to fall. But now those shots are being generated in such unique ways. These touch passes, these DHOs, coming off screens in the pick and roll, that they weren't being generated a year ago. And if those start to fall, and they have the same success as they did a year ago, all of a sudden now they're a top 6 3-point shooting team by the end of the season, you're in a much better position than you were a year ago. This was a bring your own juice game, though. I mean, we mentioned all the adversity of the schedule and the injuries. The crowd was also a fine crowd in the regular season, but it was not giving you a ton of juice. Ajay Mitchell was an Energizer bunny tonight. I mean, the biggest pop of the night from the crowd came with 52 seconds to go in the third quarter when he got a steal and an and 1 to make this a 1-point game, down from 10. He had a kick to Caruso, who gets a flyby, dribbles in, and Ajay Mitchell relocates to the corner for a catch-and-shoot open 3. He missed it, but again, it illustrates the caliber of threes and the kind of threes that this team is getting and this team is generating. He had a contested 3, which was a tough bucket, off of a DHO from J. Will with a pitch out the top of the key. I love that play. Plays catch with Wiggins on the outside, hits a catch and shoot corner 3, playing between defender with a catch on the outside. That was great. And then he goes end to end off of a J. Will steal on a Sabonis entry pass to retake the lead in the first quarter way back when. So overall, great night from Ajay Mitchell. Coming up, let's talk SGA, closing this one out. Let's talk J. Will. Let's talk this team's defensive performance against Sacramento down the stretch. But first, I want to say right now, my good friends over at Peloton, folks, go check out Peloton today, because Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with a brand new Peloton Cross Training Trend Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performances. Here's how Peloton, the IQ system, works with real-time strength coaches. It allows you to keep track of your reps. It suggests you the right weights to use. It corrects your form. It makes every rep safer and also smarter. The swivel screen technology is a game changer. You can go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training without missing a beat. And they have personalized class recommendations to keep you engaged and to keep your workouts tailored to your vibe, your energy level each week. So do not let yourself pass up this opportunity so you can run, lift, flex, and push forward with Peloton. Go there right now by exploring the new Peloton Cross Training Trend Plus today at onepeloton.com. That's onepeloton.com. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. We're here talking Thunder win over the Sacramento Kings as they head to 5-0 in this game. You know, Shai was getting it done in the paint. One thing about Shai's first quarter, he did take a sit in the first quarter, and this is atypical. Whenever you see the Thunder's rotational patterns historically with Shai, he plays all the first quarter, he plays all the third quarter, and then he plays half of the second and fourth quarters. Taking another break in the first quarter early on this season, they've kind of changed this rotation. I wonder how much of that is a little column A, a little column B, a little column C of like, are they trying something new? Is it because you don't have J-Dub and you wanted to start the second quarter, which they did with Shai's scoring prowess to not let this game slip? Is it like there's a many of factors here that we just don't know what variable they're playing with whenever Shai's rotation changes? But ultimately, it ends the same way. And this is the flexibility of Shai as a superstar, where it's like whenever we talk about Shai being a low-maintenance superstar, it's because you're allowed to mess with his rotation. We've asked him about this before in the past when it's happened in separate games. And he mentions, I don't care what the rotation is. I care about the end minutes, and the end minutes tonight, 36 tonight. So he plays 36 minutes regardless, and it all balances out. But I do wonder if the rhythm is a byproduct of the injuries so far for OKC. But, Shai was engaged all night long. He has this rise up mid-range jumper at the nail off of a good entry pass, by the way, from Chris Youngblood, who got second quarter run. He also ran the floor perfectly in transition. And this is a play that sometimes people give up on, but he keeps running the floor behind the play, trailing it, and Cason gets to the rim and then has to spin and toss it backward to the trailing SGA as the defender closes in on the chase down, and Shai slams it home for an easy 2. He had a great pass to Brooks Barnheiser on a cut back door. It didn't go anywhere. He was stuffed. But here again, folks, you change out the cutter to a guy like J-Dub, to a guy like even Kenrich. All of a sudden, like, that's a beautiful pass, and we're talking about how glowingly about how Shai's improved as a playmaker. Cuts from the top of the key to find iHeart, and iHeart finds Shai, and Shai was awesome to make 2 defenders kind of collapse on him and then kick it out to Cason for 3. That was a good playmaking moment from Shai. These last 2 nights, though, let's talk about this. These last 2 nights, Shai has taken a lot of contact, and he's gotten no whistle. And we mentioned this in the preseason. Watch for an overcorrection this season. And after the first 2 games, ramp back up that discourse around Shai being a free throw merchant and Shai getting too many foul calls and look at this clip and look at that clip. Since the first 2 games, Shai has struggled to get to the free throw line. Remember, struggled to get to the free throw line. And here's if you're someone who really wants to fight back against the free throw merchant discourse, and you really think it's worth your time. I personally don't. I personally think you should just enjoy watching Shai play, because the people who say that are, 1, just envious of Shai and the fact he's not on their team, and 2, most importantly, actually, number 2, they're never going to change their mind. It doesn't matter the evidence, the stats, the videos, nothing matters. They're not going to change their mind. That's what you need to know heading into these debates. However, if you still want to make those debates, what'd Shai do tonight? What'd Shai do against Dallas? What'd Shai do against Atlanta? 4 free throws in Atlanta, got to 30 points. Tonight, he has 2 free throws. His first trip to the free throw line doesn't happen until 3:33 to go in the fourth quarter. And he only goes 2 for 2 at the line, but still has 33 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, 3 blocks. And by the way, remained super efficient. With only 2 free throw attempts, he went 53% from the floor. I don't know if people know what the word merchant means when they use this, but he's not a byproduct of his free throw shooting. Like, he's just that good. He's just that talented. And he also happens to be getting fouled. And he's still getting fouled, and the refs are now not calling it. But remember, this same thing happened to Harden. The same thing happened to Trae Young. The same thing has happened before in the past. The officials will overcorrect. They'll bend the knee to the mob and the angry mob on social media, as we typically do in this world. And eventually, that'll subside come January, come February, most importantly, come April. It'll be back to normal. He'll be back to getting his rightful foul calls, and then the Thunder will be even more impressed by Shai's gaudy outings, and tonight was still a great outing from him. As a matter of fact, I would consider his first half to be perfect. He only missed 2 shots the entire first half, both of which came at the buzzer whenever he tried to throw up a prayer because he got the ball passed to him and just had to do something and not dribble out the clock. But in the actual flow of offense and the actual flow of the game, he did not miss a shot in the first half. That was really impressive tonight from Shai. His spin move around Sabonis in the deep paint, again, dreadful night from Sabonis. His spin move off of Sabonis in the deep paint for the layup, it's just special. And then, speaking of Sabonis, the shot he has to take the lead late in this game, to make it a 1-point game, I should say, not take the lead. But there's 3 minutes and 53 seconds to go in the game. Shai gets into the paint, lowers the shoulder, knocks Sabonis 5 feet off of his spot defensively, goes up for an easy 2. It's a 1-point game now. And from then, you saw everything shift. You saw the Kings look like deer in the headlights, and they couldn't close out this game. Shai also tried to go to the step-back 3 over Sabonis to take the lead. He misses it. That's a shot where, in that scenario, given time, score, and shot clock, I would have rather seen Shai drive. And then the next possession, Shai comes down and fires a skip pass to Lou for 3, and Lou gives them the lead with 2:22 left in the game. and then Shai hits the dagger step back three. So this is an embodiment in the fourth quarter of the Shai shot diet discourse. The dagger three, everyone's celebrating. The one that he missed, everybody is criticizing. It's an interesting position to be in because there is situations like that step back earlier against Sabonis that felt like he was going for the kill shot. Like, given the time, given the score, given the shot clock, I agree. He should have drove. The step back three to hit the dagger, even if that would have missed, I would have felt like it was a good shot from Shai. It happened to go in. He was 1 for 5 overall from three, but 53% shooting, 2 for 2 at the free throw line, 3 steals, a block, 4 assists, 9 rebounds, and 31 points. Great night from Shai, and a great job closing this game. And again, you're not allowed to close this game if he doesn't return to the contest with 7 minutes to go, and it's a 4-point game. So credit to everyone involved to make that happen, including J-Will. Like, J-Will checks in and immediately gets 2 steals on Sabonis, trying to get to the rim, trying to get these entry passes. He walls up Sabonis perfectly. And so for all the concerns about, like, oh, J-Will's dropped some weight, can he still bang with bigger bodies? Yeah, he can. He had a great block of Sabonis in the paint in the final 5 minutes of this game, which obviously turned the game around. He also did a great job at the end of this game attacking off the catch and throwing a lob to Brandon Carlson. Like, those two connected for a lob slam, as Dean Blevins would say. He also had one misstep in this one in the box score of the turnover, and it was a funky looking turnover. It was a DHO that he tried to leap between his legs, I believe, for Cason in the slot on the far side, the weak side or strong side, I should say, of the play. He tries this between the legs bounce pass, which iHeart makes routinely. J-Will tries it. It gets a blooper reel level turnover and 2 points for the Kings. And I think that in the regular season, let me be clear, this is in the regular season, the Thunder, yes, they're 5-0, but their win total doesn't really matter. Like, this team is so deep, so talented, as you saw tonight, they're going to be the 1 seed in the West. It's all about the playoffs. And to be better in the playoffs, they need to be a better passing team than they were a year ago. They need to get better shots in the half court. So I'm all for these guys trying things out in a playmaking category. And so, yeah, it'll lead to turnovers. And some of Shai's turnovers have been the same way, of him trying something and it doesn't work. Some of J-Dub's turnovers, whenever he comes back, will be in the same way. But you want to explore how are there ways where we can have these unique passes that we can set up better shots. And so I'm fine with it. Again, it looked weird. It looked funky. It looked bad. But I'm actually fine with that turnover from J-Will. I thought that his defense was really good tonight, considering the circumstances. He was a big reason why that Sabonis was a non-factor tonight. I mean, Sabonis labored his way to 10 points, which is below his already pedestrian average for the season so far. And so 10 points on 15 shots and only 2 threes for Sabonis. Yeah, credit to J-Will. So I really did like his game. I liked Lou Dort the stick-to-itiveness. He went 1 for 6 from 3, but the 3 that he did hit was a go-ahead shot. 44% from the floor, because he actually hit a nice rise-up mid-range jumper. He had a couple nice rim finishes early on in this game. He had a strip of Russ on a drive that was really nice as well. Cason Wallace, kind of similar to Lou Dort. Like, it was not his night. He missed this high-flying dunk through the lane, which is just an embodiment of what this game was. He had missed easy shots. He had missed some bunnies along the way, but it wasn't an efficient line offensively. And it wasn't even a great defensive matchup. And it wasn't a great defensive product for Cason because of the matchup. Like, because he had great contests on guys like DeRozan. But DeRozan is automatic in the mid-range, and DeRozan is also just able to shoot over the top of Cason. So it just was not his matchup. And again, folks, one more time for the end of the show, what would have happened if he had J-Dub out there, with his length defending DeRozan, Levine, etc. And then Brooks Barnheiser got to play some in this game. He had a floater. That was fun. He got stonewalled at the rim twice on these cuts. And it is a little concerning considering that we're still struggling to see what is his overall offensive kind of repertoire look like for a guy who is an NBA-ready player on the defensive end. How can you find him a viable offensive role? Tonight, the cuts weren't working. You know that he has a shaky at best 3-point shot, I think worse than shaky, but still 3-point shot. He's a really good connective passer. I think that nobody should be ready for the G League season to start more than Brooks Barnheiser, because it sounds like a demotion, but it's not. Like, it is a developmental tool that this team is going to use. And I'll go back to J-Will. Like, J-Will's first half of his season was spent with the blue. And he was a much better player by the end of it to take over the starting role in January of that play-in year than he would have been otherwise. And so, like with Brooks Barnheiser, like, yeah, he has NBA skills, but to hone in on that and make him impactful long term, and especially even just short term this season, he needs the G League season to start because of how that staff operates. Like, they're not going to put Brooks Barnheiser on the ball a ton in the G League, even though, he'd be one of the best players, even though he could do that and he could do what he did in college at Northwestern, where he was on the ball, he was getting to the mid range, he was knocking down mid range jumpers. They're going to find the ways to make him useful off the ball offensively. And those repetitions, seeing those pictures and studying his game down there will be a big thing in his development. So I'm excited to see Brooks Barnheiser with the Blue at some point as Blue training camp opens up. That's what we got today on this win over the Sacramento Kings. We'll be back to dive into this week so far of Thunder basketball on tomorrow's show. You everydayers make this show go, so I appreciate each and every one of you. Subscribe to Locked On Thunder anywhere you get your podcast from, including on YouTube. We have our Monday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Central live streams with Derek Parker. We also have a show Monday through Friday every single day, and post-game shows after every single game, including on weekends for some bonus pod content. Don't forget, new show starting out, I believe, next month, I think. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I think that you're going to really enjoy it as we get done here. So subscribe to Locked On Thunder. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. And until next time, be good and be good to one another, folks.